Welcome to today's episode about analog reel-to-reel recorders. We happen to have this Revox B77 in our family, first-hand, purchased by my father according to the registration sticker in March 1982. And I actually already used it when I was a child, although I was not supposed to touch it, I guess, but that's not what childs do. The last time I was here, I literally set it on fire. Some filtering capacitor at the main power supply blew up and caused some smoke and sparks. That was actually not the most fun experience, but we quickly soldered some replacement cap into there so that it thankfully still works. As far as I remember, we did not have many tapes for this. In the end, maybe only 2. When I tried them out some month ago, they were totally smeary and all the bent material was gluing and sticking to the heads. This is why I will also clean the heads shortly. The other tape was mostly okay-ish, only sticking a little bit, so this is one of those analog drawbacks that after 2 or 3 decades your tape is falling apart. So I ordered some brand new tape. Let's open this. Brand new recording the Masters LPR 35 1/4" tape, 1100 meters. I hope that is the right one. So this is supposed to be pure tape that we need to screw into a reel. We have here nice original, so I will try for my first time ever to screw this into the Revox reel here. This brand new audiophile tape. Size-wise, I think it looks good. For what it's worth, it has a really nice smell. So will this roll from the right? Here is actually a sticker. This is actually not the right side. If we want to use it directly, we need to turn it up. So let's reassemble. Oh, wait a second, is this front or back side? Or does it even? Good question. So that looks quite okay-ish. Theoretically, this machine may not be adjusted for just this tape. This is the next downfall of analog stuff, that theoretically you would need to measure in and adjust the machine for just this tape, but we will of course just use it as it is. Here's some contact chemie, very clean isopropanol, and even this is even recommended and intended for video and audio heads, so don't use some household stuff there. And so these are the erase, record and play heads. They are still quite clean, so I must have cleaned them the last time after I used it. Even there, just a little bit of dirt coming off there. This is quite clean. But here is still on this tensioning spring. You definitely do not want to scratch anything of all of this. Also, I must have cleaned it a month ago, because the other tape that was totally falling apart was gluing everything. I could not even rewind the whole reel. I had to clean 5 times in between rewinding it. So much plastic rubber stuff was sticking to the playheads. That was really crazy. So I only say this because there are so many romantic videos. Shouldn't put on this. Because there are so many romantic videos on YouTube that show how awesome this is, and the reality is that this analog stuff definitely needs way more care than all the digital things. These big reels come with this NAB adapter that you squeeze like this to press it inside. I know some people may do it directly on the machine, but I somehow prefer it not to do it on the machine. These new tapes do not come with this pre-bend thing that is, as far as I know, among other things also used to stop the machine automatically. So this Revox has a built-in cutting mechanism. So you can cut like you would do in a studio. Normally you would not use normal Tesafilm for this, but I could not find the old tape film for this anymore in the house. And this old glue would probably not be as nice anymore anyway. As we use this normal Tesafilm, we need to cut some excess off. I heard in former times the tape already came with this pre-tape. So then the tape is moved through the heads like this. And then fixed by friction, some people leave it out like this and turn it. I personally like it more when it stays inside. It's a little bit cleaner, like this. And that's it. Now we could play. There is a sensor detecting the metal tape, so I need to hold the play or record button as long as this pre-tape is running. Otherwise it stops. Because when you rewind, the machine will automatically stop when the metal tape sensor detects no metal tape anymore. So now I connect some audio source, which is of course another drawback. You need to record your music to your analog recording material. I'm really curious about the quality because the probably original Revox tape was mostly okay. It was, at least it was not gluing totally over the heads, but it had total play through, and the erase head would not erase it totally anymore, so you could still, after erasing and recording, you could still hear the former music through it and things like this. So I'm really curious now how the brand new tape sounds. It will also be the first time in my life I have never experienced brand new tape before. This is the very first tape that I purchased in my whole life, and certainly the first tape that was purchased likely since 1982 for this machine. However, do not think that this will outperform current high-end digital analog converters. This kind of machines, I need to check the spec. The signal to noise ratio is something like 68 decibel, even A-weighted. So the second or third generation 16-bit Sound Blaster at the end of the 90s surpassed this analog tapes in quality, where also the stereo separation is even less. And so on. This is, by the way, a 4-track. What I did not know when I was a child, I did not realize that this is a 4-track tape. Okay, there is written stereo, but it's a 4-track tape, meaning your stereo tracks are using 2 of the 4 tracks, and you can turn this tape around at the end and play the other side like a compact cassette also. But I never realized that some of this reel-to-reel have the same feature and setup. Although there are 2-track machines, the 2-track machines usually can result in slightly better signal to noise ratio and especially left and right stereo separation, because the tracks are wider apart and the 4 tracks are obviously smaller together. So let's connect an audio source and see how the recording and playback goes. Of course, there is the next problem of analog material. How do you record either from already lower quality analog material or digitally, and then you just make a copy of analog, people saying analog is so much more awesome, and then you have an analog copy of a digital original. I usually use FLAC files, at least we have no compression artifacts, and yeah, let's see how the recording goes. Of course, you can have a much more audiophile setup with a very professional deck, but I'm not traveling with my DAC. So to record, you can select the record channels individually. Here are the levels. Here is the source. You can choose whether you want to hear and monitor the incoming signal or from the tape play. This is also the reason why the record head is first and the play head is second, so that you can monitor what you just recorded. So power is there, speed is there. Unlike digital recordings that you cannot overdrive, you can slightly overdrive analog material. So when you have 0 dB on a digital system, anything slightly more than this will usually be a hard clip, obviously distorting your signal. While this analog material is slightly more forgiving, it is actually normal to overdrive it just so slightly. It makes the best use of the available signal to noise ratio. Just this Revox does not come equipped with this Dolby noise reduction module, which was an expensive option. So this Dolby noise reduction obviously can virtually increase the signal to noise ratio just a little bit and push the noise floor more down into the less hearable areas. As I switch to monitor the tape of what we are just recording, I can already hear the quality, and obviously the brand new tape material is way better than the over 2 decade, actually 25 years, it's a quarter century old tape. That old bent material was not only gluing and sticking to the heads, one tape much more than the other. One only did this very little, the other one was totally gluing itself to all the heads. I threw it away, it was totally unusable, really ruining the machine. The other one that we still have here is mostly okay, but certainly because it was already re-recorded 100 times or so, and then it was even stored and not used for at least some 15 or 2000, actually wait a second, this is already, it's not a quarter of a century, actually it's already 35 years old. It's even older than I thought. The tape was stored very long time, not used, and then you even have press through, or what it is called, because the tape is stored next to each other, the recorded magnetic signature is pressing through the next layer, and the old tape had this, and it would not even erase 100% anymore. So if you re-recorded something in a not as loud segment of a song, you would hear the old recording very much, especially if your previous recording was a very loud one. This is also a warning to you if you consider a tape. So first of all, Mr. Techmoan is joking each time he's making such kind of video, the prices go up on eBay. I thought then, wait a second, let's make a video that the prices go down on eBay, because I have to admit it has a nice, this kind of analog slowing down your life in a way. So if you want to relax in a rainy afternoon with some nice music, it can have a nice atmospheric effect. However, as you see, all the recording, the quality, even though this was top of the line, except not having the Dolby noise reduction module, but otherwise it is for sure one of the best quality you could purchase in 1982. Most normal machines, even laptops, outperform this audio quality by a huge margin. As I said, signal to noise ratio, I think it was 68 dB or something. Even if it's slightly more or less, it is still way less than the 95 decibel signal to noise ratio that you get from a normal laptop from the last years. The only thing in laptops that can ruin your audio experience is if they did not decouple the power very nicely, so you have distortion, noise, ripples from the power supply, or if they have other circuits like Wi-Fi and things like this next to each other, not nicely shielded, so that your Wi-Fi and serial ATA and all these high frequency signals are imposing the signal on your audio circuits, and you get noise and distortion from your other high frequency circuits. This can of course happen sometimes, and also the Linux driver that misconfigured at least the Microsoft Surface that I showed in previous videos. Except from this, the quality of these digital circuits usually should be way higher than even the top of the line, highest end audiophile equipment from a quarter century ago. I checked prices on eBay, so maybe I can buy myself a nice Akai or something just for the vintage feeling of it. However, when I see the prices for $1,000 or $500, I rather buy myself a nice digital audio converter or another SGI Octane or something than this analog equipment. Also, when I switched this on, it literally went up in flames there from the power supply. And this can also happen. You purchase for $500 or $1,000 or euro such a machine or a similar machine, and you get it shipped, things are broken, things are scratched. For sure, this is a nice, well-taken machine. Many machines have more scratches. things could fall apart. So even on this unit, the counter is not working, the rubber belt fell apart. We need to buy a replacement one or something. It's probably the only thing that's not working on this machine. And also the tape. Also, I was then considering to buy a new high-end tape from eBay, but when I saw reviews that people wrote it's gluing and sticking to the heads, that is exactly what I had here with this old tape. This is why this tape is a brand new tape from a music supply, and that's not cheap. However, it was a similar price on eBay, so my tip for you is, if you have something like this, buy a brand new tape from music supply and not use tapes on eBay, because they for sure were recorded, and even if they were not recorded, they may still chemically falling apart and become sticky and glue to your playheads and such. And the other tip is really think. If you see a nice YouTube video like this or others, really think if you really want to buy something like this in this day and age, because obviously the digital format has quite many comforts. So that's it for today. Maybe for a future episode I can take a signal generator and oscilloscope and take a look on the input and output signals here and how they are distorted and go through the machine. I hope you enjoyed this little excursion to analog audio, and don't forget to subscribe for plenty of such videos to come.